Hi there, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be starting chapter 15 with lesson 15.1, the volume of cylinders. You are going to be able to use a calculator in this unit, so just make sure you have those out. And in today's notes, you're looking for 5 things to go into your notes, and just make sure that you are also showing your work and showing the process of which we're doing. Let's go ahead and get started with number 1. The first thing we want to know is what is the volume of a cylinder. So that volume is going to be area of the base times the height of the cylinder. One thing you need to keep in mind is the area of the base is a circle, so technically the area of the base is pi times radius squared and then times the height. Go ahead and copy these two things down that I've put a square around for number 1, and then once you're done, click play to try a question. So go ahead and pause now to write down the formula and then click play when you're ready to go on. Alright, so this one I'm going to show you how to do. It says, find the volume of the cylinder, round your answer to the nearest tenth. The first thing I always do is write down my volume formula, and I always replace area of the base with area of the circle. So pi times radius squared times height. Then I plug in what my things are. I know radius is 3 and height is 6. So that'll be 3.14 times 3 squared times 6. Okay? That, if you type that into your calculator, that's going to be 3.14 times 3 times 3 times 6, and that is going to give me 169.56 meters cubed. And if you wanted to round it to nearest tenth, I won't really rely on that for your homework or your test. As long as you can get here, this is great. But if you rounded, so I'm going to say round, would be 169.6 meters cubed, because rounding to the nearest tenth would be looking at that 5. Okay, so you're going to try this one on your own. You can go ahead and pause the video now for number 2, try it, and then once you're done, click play to check your work. Okay, so number 2, your radius is 4 and your height is 15. So even though it's turned on its side, radius, remember, always has to deal with the circle. Remember, volume is pi times radius squared times height. So that's going to be 3.14 times 4 squared times height, which is 15. Okay, or 3.14 times 4 times 4 times 15 is going to give you 753.6 feet cubed. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to find the height of the cylinder if you're given the volume. Okay, so we're going to be having to work backwards here. And this answer says round your answer to the nearest whole number, so we're going to see how this is done. So in order to work backwards, it is extremely helpful to write down your formula first and then plug in what's given to you. It does say volume is 314, so 314 is equal to, I know pi is 3.14, I know radius is 5, okay, because 10 is the diameter, so radius is 5, so 5 squared, and then height is unknown. What I can go ahead and do is just start working these two things out over here. So I know 314 is still 314, but 3.14, that's going to be 3.14 times 25, essentially, times height. Okay, 3.14 times 25 is 78.5, so 78.5 times height will equal the volume of 314. The last step I need to do is just divide and get h all by itself. So 314 divided by 78.5 is going to give me 4. So my height for this example is 4. So that's the kind of question you're going to try now. So you're going to find the height of the cylinder. 2 things to keep in mind. You need to make sure that you're writing down your formula, plugging in what's given to you, and just be careful you don't use 8 for the radius. Okay, let's go ahead and pause the video now so you can try this question number 3, and once you're done, click play to check your work. Alright, so after we plugged it in, we said volume is 176, pi is 3.14, r squared is 4 squared, and h is still unknown. I'm going to go and work out 3.14 times 16 over here. So 3.14 times 16 is going to give me 50.24. So 50.24h is equal to 176. Dividing both sides by 50.24, h will be equal to, probably got 3.5, rounded to the nearest tenth, so my answer would be 3.5 for number 3. Here's an additional one that you're going to try. So this one, it says how much salsa is missing from the jar. So kind of think in mind what did the jar start off with, which was the first height. We'll say height number 1. And then now look at how the height has changed to number 2, and maybe just find the difference between those. Okay, let's go ahead and pause the video here and take some time to try number 4. Once you're done, click play to check your work. Okay, what I've done so far is I've just differentiated number 1 and number 2. Number 1, for the volume, I'm going to do pi times 5 squared times 10. And then number 2, I'm going to be doing pi times 4 squared, times 5 squared still, times 4. 4 is the height. Don't get messed up between radius and height. So over here for number 1, 3.14 times 25 times 10 is going to give me 785. Over here, 3.14 times 25 times 4 is going to give me 314. To find the leftover, or the salsa that's missing, you just take 785 and subtract 314, and that is going to give you 471 cubic centimeters. Okay. Last one, in number 5, you're finding the volume of the water cooler, except this time you are converting it, once you get your volume, to how many gallons it is. Okay, and you have an A, B, C, D option. So let's go ahead and pause the video here, try it, and once you're done, click. Alright, so it's very, very important that you pay close attention to your volume formula. We have pi, and then radius. You need to make sure that you change this to radius. The first time I did this question, I made a mistake, and I said 1 foot was the radius. 1 foot is not the radius, it's 0.5 foot. So 0.5 squared times height, which is 1.7. Okay, so that's 3.14 times 0.5 times 0.5 times 1.7. That is going to give you 1.3345. That's how many gallons are in there. And then that's how many cubic feet are in there. And then to convert it to gallons, you're going to multiply it by 7.5. And that's going to give you like 10.008 something, 875. And that's going to be closest to option B here for number 5. So they're actually 10 gallons. When I did it the first time, I got 40 gallons, and that's because I didn't change radius to 1. So just make sure that I didn't change radius to 0.5. I used 1 for radius instead. Just make sure you're using radius instead of diameter. That's going to conclude our notes for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.